Hello, 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 hello. How's everyone doing? Hello, Ethan. Are you alive?
No, dude. I died last night. I'm a corpse right now, so...
Am I talking to a corpse?
Yes. Check out my tombstone. Put some flowers there. That applies to all of you, too. He died doing what he loved. Interpret that as you will.
What he died doing? What did you do?
Interpret it as you will, dude. Oh, shit.
Hello, Ryu. How you doing? I did a little bit of a quick banter session with Ryu in the beginning. Orksy, we see you. How you doing, Orksy?
I am me as well. No, you what the hell?
Did you not see that?
I just saw it now, yo.
Ah, dude. Dude.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the stream where we are still advertising our upcoming web series Young. Check out our Instagram, check out our YouTube page where you can watch VODs of the previous streams.
Orksy, thank you for the follow, my guy. Thank you. You already know who I am. I already, you're in the Discord, so I don't want to give you my whole discography now and all this thing. But I can tell you what this is about, my guy. We are here promoting again our film. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Wednesday's Hump Day. This is a little bit of an early stream.
I'll explain why.
Because I'm working on set on Friday, so I won't be around on Friday to host you guys and to have you listen to the podcast. So we decided to do it a little bit earlier, and see, just do it earlier, and actually give you guys content. Otherwise, we would have had to withhold the podcast and then do it next week, and that's a no-go.
Yeah, if there's anyone who there are probably going to be some people who won't know that this has been moved to Wednesday instead of Friday. So, but we do plan on, as per usual, putting the VOD on YouTube next week sometime. So
probably,
you guys can catch up on.
We'll probably put the VOD on Friday, and we'll do a rerun of this stream on Friday again. If those people who normally tune in on a Friday missed the announcement, we'll just put a rerun and have a rerun on the stream. I think you can do that. I'm not 100% sure.
I think as long as you disclose that it's a rerun, don't be scummy. Just
why I won't be scummy. Anyways.
Good.
Anyways. So. How's your day been, dude? What you been up to since last we spoke?
Dude, one thing I did yesterday, do you know the movie Climax?
No. Oh, that's the same dude that did Enter the Void and all that stuff. That
yes.
Seems very weird.
Now,
did you watch it with the door closed?
Of course.
As
I
usual.
remember. Yes, I remember. I was telling you and Teagues about the script I wanted to write about the nightclub thing, and I thought that would be a good reference, and it totally works as a reference. But dude, after watching that, my head and my eyes hurt. Not because it was a confusing story. It wasn't like watching Inception for the first time, but just all the things that happened in the movie. It was yo, my dude. Like, do you know what the movie's about?
No, I don't know what the movie's about. I saw it. I think it's about a dancer and some people dancing and trapped in a room or something like that. I don't know.
Close. It's about a dance group that they kind of they practice, and then afterwards they just party in the school hall where they were doing their dance.
Mm-hmm.
And after they set up all the characters and stuff, you find out that somebody spiked their sangria with LSD.
Oh
and
my!
They all share this collective
God.
nightmare and things like. When I say that shit went south in that movie, that is underselling how
That's
bad
the understatement. That's the understatement of the film.
Everyone's tripping, but because you don't know how much sangria they had at that point. Like they could have been. It's so messed up. Just funny thing about the movie, I feel you can almost call the movie a bit of a body horror. I mean, of course, I say body horror very loosely. The same way you can maybe, I can't think of a proper analogy right now, but. I think if you're very loose with the definition, body horror is at least a little bit of something you can tie to this movie. Guys, my eyes hurt after watching it.
I'm pretty sure, that movie does... it's made by the same dude who made Enter the Void, so I know the type of work he's been doing, and it is kind of hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
And he also made Love, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Which is, guys, Love is like Into the Void light. Good movie. If you want to check this out, this guy's movies.
It's so hectic.
Into the Void is a bit of a tough way to get to watch his stuff, because Into the Void, it's very inaccessible. Just the length of the movie, all the stuff that happens, how far you have to push your brain to understand what's going on.
It's basically like, if you want to watch it, it's such a compact movie. I mean, yeah, it's such a compact movie that you have to at least give yourself time to watch it. You can't be like, I'm gonna watch it with my girlfriend or what. You have to give yourself time to watch it, because it's actually really hectic.
Yeah, you guys might break up after watching it if you plan on doing it.
It makes you contemplate life and stuff. I mean, that's actually what it is about. But like,
the guy dies and his spectre just like floats
around. Dude, spoilers, my guy, spoilers.
It's the premise of the movie.
Yeah, but like, at least leave them to just to find that out. You're already going, the dude dies. Oh my god. Even like given minutes. But still, though. Anyways, now let's digress. So a little bit of an update for this week. I did do that neat stream starting countdown. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It took me some time to get it right. It took me some After Effects coding, but I finally got it down. And we got the Bishi, I would like to call them the Bishi oranges, but then Ethan called them the aperture. So I was like, okay, whatever you want to call it, Bishi orange or an aperture.
It looked,
the emotes are available.
It's like 8 pixels by 8 pixels. Of course, it's not gonna look like an orange.
So the emotes are available. They were approved by Twitch and all them Twitch people. So I actually kind of enjoy this, because I really enjoy oranges, and I felt like this is such a really, it's inspired by one of the art, the digital illustrations that I did before I did my whole setup for my stream. But it was really good. It was really, really nice, enjoying to make, but I just had to wait for it to be approved. And yeah, those are the updates for the stream. And we will be having guests coming along. 2 guests. They were here the previous week. You guys already know them. They're a recurring guest, and we're gonna talk about some really, really interesting works and interesting topics that we're about to uncover on this podcast, so stay tuned for that. Other than that, I've been watching this Netflix show called I think it's called Ratchet. It is about a mental institution. It's about this lady who's trying to break. Let me see. I'm warning you now. I'm gonna spoil it a little bit. I'm gonna tell you what it's about, but then I don't like telling people what it's about. I just want them to go watch it. But for you guys, just to kind of nudge you towards watching it. It's about this lady who's a nurse, and then she works at a mental institution, and then she's trying to break her brother out of the mental institution before he gets executed, because they wanted the death penalty and whatnot. It's really good. The story is amazing. I think you guys should jump on it. It's really good. I enjoyed it. I'm currently watching it. I think I'm 3 episodes down, and I just can't stop watching it. From the cinematography to like the music. This, I don't think Ethan would like this, because the way that they use sound effects and music, it actually is used to like sway, like to intensify the mood. And Ethan's a dude of silence, let the image talk for itself. But I felt like I really enjoyed it, and it's like it literally is something that I'm going to binge. I'm going to watch the rest of the episodes today, most probably. But it's so good. It's really interesting. It's and also there's this neat lightning trick that they do, like the way that they play with light and the colors of light, like the different color outputs of the light. It's really interesting because it kind of shows you what the character's going through and actually plays with the character's emotions. And I feel that a film or a web series that does that, like again, not a Netflix series, not a web series, a film or a Netflix series that does that, literally is kind of innovating, because I've never seen anything like that happening, where the lights in the scene like kind of change color, amplifying the mood of the character. But they also play a lot with flashbacks and just flashbacks, and also like the way that they cut their flashbacks into the scenes and stuff is really interesting, and the story is really interesting, and I think you guys should give it a watch. It is very good, very interesting. I might actually start, instead of a short of the week, I might start a series of the week, or a series of the month or something, because I don't know how long people take to watch series, but I'm gonna binge this one and I'm gonna finish it because it's so good. It's really amazing. I love the character. I love the main character, and I love the Asian character kind of looks like a friend of mine, and I'm like, yo, dude, the resemblance is uncanny, though. The resemblance is uncanny, and it's so, like, I can't. It's so good. The series is so good. I feel like it could be like one of my favorite series out there. Like, actually sink your teeth into, sit down and watch it. It 100% is sitting there in the top 10 or top 5 series that I enjoyed watching. And I'm still yet to see Peaky Blinders and all that stuff. So, and I saw a little bit of Peaky Blinders. Like, my brother was watching it, but I didn't want to watch it where he left off. So that's looking quite kind of promising. And I'm still waiting for him to finish it, so that when I start watching it, he doesn't come in and start spewing out spoilers. So that's where I'm sitting at. But that series, Ratchet, is amazing. Good. If you have Netflix, go check it up. If you don't, you know what to do. You know what to do. You gotta obtain the goods. You gotta obtain the goods. Whatever means. You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
That's not a very encouraging message.
Hey, dude, I'm a film student. If I don't have the means to watch a film that my lecturers recommend me, you know how I'm gonna get to obtain that, dude.
Oh, how are you going to obtain that? Do you mind?
Do I mind lending my experiences on obtaining movies and incriminating myself on this platform that is Twitch?
Oh,
no.
I never said anyone incriminated. What do you mean about
incriminating? No, thank you, my good man. No, thank you. But anyways, other than that, Ethan, what you been watching?
Well, I mentioned Climax. Again, I haven't really been watching that much because of assignments. I think as I get older, like I've spoken about this with a lot of people, I'm more picky about what I do with my time. Like, if there's a game, I can't just play a game and stick with it. Like, I'll stop playing the game the moment I realize I'm not having fun. And so that kind of puts me into bad habits of doing the exact same thing over and over. Like, I don't know, like there's some anime which I've been telling myself I'm going to watch, or some movies I'm telling myself I'm going to watch, or a TV series I told myself I'm going to download. And
you never get around to doing it.
Exactly. Even if it's something I've been looking forward to. Like I mentioned Ichi the Killer like 2 podcasts ago. Still haven't seen it. I saw another movie instead.
You have to. Where's your book of movies that you need to watch? I actually don't even have a book of movies I need to watch. I have a book of movies that I've watched and are really good, and I keep a note on them, and I write what I thought about them and what interests me, and then I have a book there. That's why, like, that's how I'm able to generate all these good movies that I'm recommending on the movie of the week. It's literally the only way, because I have such a huge library of movies that I've seen, that I want to like put it in and say, okay guys, you guys should watch this. If you are like-minded and I assume like the same things that I like, or anything along those lines, and are like interested in films and watching new and interesting films, I have a whole bunch of movies here, like a whole bunch.
I tend not to write things down. It's something my mom kept saying I have to do. I got to write things down, but I don't know. I just I prefer looking, remembering things or looking for things, because I think if I write stuff down, I'm only gonna talk about it in the manner I write it down, instead of like thinking of new things. Because writing down's work. If you have an interpretation of one thing, you put in a book, like you said. But if you have a new thing, you're gonna have to completely get rid of that and rewrite it. Whereas if it's in your head, you just gotta say it. That's my whole thing. I just don't write things down all that often.
So if you forget about it, if you forget about it, then it wasn't important, right?
I do not agree with that. Okay,
Yeah.
we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't
If
write
you
things down,
didn't
it's that I
want
don't
it,
write-
if you don't remember it, then it was not important because you didn't
Oh my
write it
gosh,
down
dude.
because it was
If
in
we
your
were-
head.
we were not-
You're
if
literally
we were
making
not-
my point.
If we were not on other sides of the city, I'd come to your house and slap you.
No, you wouldn't. Because you know I'm right, though. If you didn't write it down and you don't remember it, it was not important.
Oh my word! What is?
Easy clap, dude. 100% easy.
Oh,
Ryu,
yes,
I'm
it's-
only here just for the lurking. I'm at work. Oh, dude. Enjoy work. Hopefully you have this blasted in the background. We can inform you on some great work, some great films while you work. Get your list to go and sit at home and go watch films if you're not playing games. You know. Yeah. And dude, I honestly, I don't know, man. I've also been like trying to get my things sorted. Trying to book. I went to go book my drivers so that I can finally be a person that can drive. I'm like I can drive, right? But I just haven't done the test because I've been pushing it off to the side a little bit, and I I just decided, nah, I need to do this. I need to book the test, and I need to get the stuff going. And I finally did it. I got up, went to stay in a long ass queue. Well, it wasn't even long. The thing is, because you have to keep socially distanced, the whole queue was going from outside, and I was like, there's not a lot of people inside this place, but there's a lot of people like outside. Stood in the sun, waited in the queue, finally got served. Did the eye test, did everything, and now I have my flippin' test scheduled for the 30th of October. So hopefully, yeah, dude, I'm getting there. Slowly but surely, taking baby steps to actually be learning how to drive. Well, I know how to drive, but getting my credentials straight.
I think we've spent quite a bit of time on the introduction. I think now I'd just like to introduce the topic, and maybe we can bring in to see them. So recently, just an introduction. Our one lecturer, one of the things he's been teaching us in his module was the idea of adaptation, and you can always have different ideas of adaptation. There has to be a balance, you know, like accuracy to the source material as opposed to like new inventive ways to fit the medium and stuff. And with adaptation also goes in a whole bunch of history and not adjacent. Yeah, adjacent to adaptation and respect for source material also comes other forms of touchy topics. How can you possibly get things like racism, history, and sexism and idealism, all these sort of isms right in films? I remember watching this video recently about someone talking about Sofia Coppola's movies. And
do you want to tell who Sofia Coppola is?
Yes, Sofia Coppola, she is a female director. She's the daughter of Francis Ford Coppola. He made The Godfather. Sofia Coppola made movies like Lost in Translation. She made a movie about Marie Antoinette. And another movie, I can't get to the name, but it's basically where a soldier gets wounded, and these women are taking care of him. But these women all want his affection, and they start getting violent and stuff over it. And I think the reason that it kind of that I wanted to talk about it today was because it brought up an interesting point. You see, some people can get wrong ideas of movies. Like, people say that, like they mentioned that in Marie Antoinette, it's a movie about her, and she lived a very pampered, sheltered life, almost away from everything else that was going on in France. If you know about the whole French Revolution. And the movie made it like that. The movie showed that. The movie barely touched on what was going outside of Versailles until the end of the movie, because we're kind of being put in the head of the character, because she was a kid. She was oblivious to what was going on in the country. She was like that. But at the time, some critics never saw it that way and felt that it was insensitive not to touch on that, even though it was about the character. So again, perspective. We actually spoke about that in the second podcast, I think, like COVID movies are coming, as an example. And then there comes the movie I mentioned about the wounded soldier. Now, something that in the video mentioned was two different critiques on that movie. You see, it's based on a book, which was also had an adaptation with Clint Eastwood back in the 70s, I think.
Yes.
Also,
it was in the 70s.
Right. And one of the characters was a black housemaid, but in her adaptation, it was a whitewash. She was played by white actress. Now, this brings up an interesting point. She says that her defense of not having a black character in there was that she didn't want to bastardize, or what's the word? Didn't want to bastardize or misportray the kind of environment or the kind of or black character of that time, because it's not something of our experience. Now, I understand that you may not want to do that, but there is also the argument that if you didn't want to do that, then get other people on board. Get black writers, get black female writers, just get other writers aside from you to help with that perspective. Something which I am fully for, like, get other writers on board, because you have blinders usually when you
are
tunnel
writing,
vision.
you get tunnel vision when you're writing a story, especially one that's not like, especially like on topics that you don't know and you like focusing on what you do know. You get tunnel vision and you start like not writing as much for the characters that you don't know. So
exactly, it's very hard to put yourself in everyone's shoes when you haven't been there. So
yeah, correct, dude, correct.
And then you can also say that don't make that story in the first place if you're not even going to bother trying to get things right. So again, like three different arguments you can make there.
I mean,
you were saying?
It makes sense. It makes sense. Like, I've seen some really trashy adaptations. One that comes to mind right now is Boy. Spike Lee. You are wait, is it Spike Lee or Spike Jones? Spike Lee.
Spike Lee's the black director. Spike Jones made her.
Spike Lee, you're an amazing director. I appreciate all the work you've made. Black Klansman was amazing, right? But what were you doing with Boy? Why? What were you trying to do? What was your motivation? I don't understand why you had to take that movie and remake it. It was such a good Korean movie, and then you decided to
Boy. That's
Old Boy. Sorry, it's Old Boy, not Boy. Old Boy.
Oh yeah, dude, that movie was so
I don't understand why he had to. You took Josh Brolin, such an amazing character, like such an amazing actor, and then you had to put him in that, and now it's like, it's not even that good. The Korean version was way better, honestly, and I don't understand why one would do such a thing. I don't understand why. I think again, it might be just a money ploy. As most adaptations happen, it's just to pull money and be like, oh, okay, cool, we're gonna make an adaptation for this because the books did well or something like that. Maybe someone made an adaptation, or some directors make an adaptation because it's actually good. Like, they find that the work is good. But other times, it also runs the risk of it being, it's not good. They just want to get like that body of work to kind of rise and work with another company or work with another production company and be like, hey, I did this, and I have their name associated with that production company. But going back to, again, the adaptations, I think Coppola's the female Coppole, right? I'm just gonna call her Coppole for now.
Just call her Sophia or
Sophie. So Sophia's work, I feel that for the era it came out in, was kind of not viewed by the right audience, because now, or maybe it was viewed by the right audience, but the critiques at that time were more, how do I say this? They were more into
different.
They were more different, and they had more different ideas.
Adaptation between now and like 10 years ago.
Exactly. And that's
what people have.
That's exactly what I'm saying with her work. And I feel that now that people have this idea and are getting the, like, in tune with all the female directors and everything that female directors do, and like knowing that these people actually do put in, like, they have their own point of views on certain stories, and they have their own point of views on like, it's not just a female director just putting fancy pantsy, making everything look feministic, or putting like that whole feminist touch onto, like, it like and like, for me it's actually hard for me to explain what I mean, because I've been brought up to not think that think that everything that comes out of anyone has a specific purpose and stuff, and it's not like it's not like stereotyped and all that stuff. But back then stereotypes were actually heavy, implied that if females were just making like a female director would make a film that is just like all lusty and all femme fatales and just like soft female characters.
Well, thinking about that, I think that might actually have been the case in the past, because female directors have a greater prevalence now than they did back then.
True.
And I think back then they would have a similar take on things, because it was a new, because it, as you progress, things have to change. But when things first begin, they seem at least somewhat samey. Like, I think when we're talking about South African content, I think when you have media where people are now allowed, or now have a greater impact on the media coming from a new group, for example, I think their content might end up being somewhat samey. For example, I think that if you had a bunch of color directors nowadays, again, this is going to sound presumptuous, but I think if you had a group of color directors now and they made movies, I think sometimes they would all, because they grew up in
similar areas, so they would have similar like stories
with a lot of similarities with it. And then take those same directors, or take that same demographic, go 10, 15 years in the future. Only then their movies might be different. When things start to come up and when things are new, things tend to be same because they follow a certain pattern or follow some experiences. So I think nowadays with female directors, I think female directors' movies can be more diverse now, even though back then, 10, 15, 20 years ago, a lot of those female movies did at least somewhat seem the same. At least, honestly.
But it also could have been, like, one of the factors that could have also come out of that is because females was going through a similar struggle when it came to kind of recognition and came to all the things that they wanted to do. That's like one of the things that, like, one of the ideas that I just came up with now, that it could be that they've been going through the similar things. They could be going through similar experiences, and that kind of adds into them having like a very samey story. But as time goes on, then you start they start developing their own voices. The more they start like working in the craft. Much like any other director, the more you start working in the craft, the more you actually decide that. Well, the more you start finding your way, and the more you kind of make decisions on what you want people to see from you, and
exactly.
And that's like, it starts evolving and starts like changing, and then you have like these different stories. But I feel that Sophia,
yeah,
so Sophia's stories, and I haven't watched any of her films, but I watched the same video that they were talking about. And this is just from a video. I haven't actually done research on her, and actually sat and gone and watched all the films. I just felt like, from where she came from, because her father was already a well-known director, and then now her daughter, now there's like that whole thing of nepotism mixed with, oh, it's a female director. And because, like, again, she wrote from something that she knew. She felt like she was gated from the outside world because of how famous her family was, and she was trying to like create her own stories. And what came out of that was that her, like, every character she touched and every character she wrote about it from her perspective. So she would like write about being a female, not like being unaware of your surroundings and only focusing on like, or being aware of your immediate surroundings but being unaware of like the outskirts, and not knowing like what's happening around you, like around your world, but only knowing like your immediate surroundings, that this is what's happening here and now.
Yeah, you never leave your room. You're gonna assume that your room is all there is in the world. By the way,
Exactly.
it's been 35 minutes. So I'm just gonna message Jesse and
Yeah,
team
sure.
and tell them that
Message them. But that's what I've been thinking, and they and like this whole discussion on this YouTube video started with like Donna Del Rey, dude. There's so much,
like Cardi B and Doja Cat and all those.
Dude. She was actually like, I actually enjoy her music, and I think like her music is really good. I started listening to it like in high school, like almost primary school, high school. She had really good songs, but I didn't like fully commit to listen to her. I heard a couple songs of hers like here and there, and I thought they were really nice. And like what again, when we look at the females in like movies and such, we always have a stereotype like view on what they are. But with Sophia's films, she had like a deeper underlining meaning of like, she would show the stereotypes, I mean, because they were relevant to the time, but also show a deeper like underlining meaning of her experiences, and how, because she knew about being famous and about being unaware of your surroundings. She knew all about that, so she could write from that and show you like the ups and downs of, like, better than any other male director could ever tell a story. Like,
yeah,
because that's what they were arguing, that they wanted, like the critics wanted her to tell stories about her surroundings as well. I mean, the movie was about the Second World War, or the First World War, the Civil War.
Yeah.
No, the one with Marie Antoinette.
The French Revolution.
The French Revolution. Yes, they were like, because it's a movie set in the time of the French Revolution and doesn't show much of the revolution happening, the war. It only showed like what Maria Antoinette went through, that's the only thing that they showed. And I feel like that's what was being spoken about, and that's what the critics wanted. They wanted, oh no, but it's a war film, show like the revolution. But she didn't do that. She only showed it like from her side, which is actually an interesting take from it. But because it's a female's perspective and writing a female character, there was some backlash, and on top of that, the nepotism, there was a lot of backlash, and they decided, no, this is probably not the way to go, and they started like backlashing her and hating on her films. But
yeah, I will say one thing though. It's not as if she was only making. She hasn't just only made movies about like perspective from women and stuff like that. She's dipped her toe. I don't know. I haven't checked out her entire filmography, but she has dipped her toe in other films that deal with more than just that. Check out. Have you at least heard of Lost in Translation?
No, I have not heard Lost in I've never. I have not heard Lost in Translation or even seen it.
Okay. By the way, Jesse's in the server.
Yeah.
Teega's not, but I think we can bring Jesse in the meantime. What do you think?
Yeah, I shall drag him in.
Cool. So, Lost in Translation it's a bit like her. It's just a movie about, I guess you could say it's one of those doomed romance stories where Bill Murray as Scarlett Johansson, I don't remember what the character's name was. It's basically just their sides of the story. They're both in Japan, and it shows how these two people connect with each other in a foreign country, because it's a foreign country, like they don't speak the language, so it's kind of a connection. It's a doomed romance, but but I think it tells the by showing both, it shows both experiences of both the man and the woman. Of course, maybe she got some other people to work on this with her. I don't actually know, but I think that's one effective way of having some sort of adaptation. It's subtraction. Like, make things vague so that you have an excuse to not fully understand something. Like, how do I say it? Like, let's say you're a white director and you're making a movie about people living in the ghettos in America. I think one. Okay, I'm not saying that this is always a good idea, but I think some people have gotten away with it. Like you could, I think if you play things vague without showing, without fully understanding a culture, you don't have other people to work on you with this. I think in some ways you can get away with making everything vague. Portrayal via subtraction. Don't have a person. Don't make a character talk a lot because he's shy. When in actual fact you may not actually know how this person may be talking in real life. That's just an example. Like that's just one way some people have done it. I don't want to be an advocate for it, but I'd be lying if I said I don't think it. But I'd be lying if I said I don't believe it works at least some of the time.
True. Anyways, we've brought in our guest. We have Teega. How you doing, Teega?
What's up,
He's
guys?
back. He's back. He's back. And then we have Jesse. Hello, Jesse.
What's up, man?
How are you guys doing? What you guys been up to since last we spoke? What have you been making movies? Yeah.
I just came from set yesterday. We had our rap party last night. Fucking, I'm so tired.
Flipping rap parties now. Like, are you guys?
We didn't have a rap party because we like didn't get enough days to shoot, so we used all our days to shoot. But all the other groups had rap parties. Anyways, sorry to cut the podcast a little bit choppy, but we have our two guests right here. We have Teega, who was here last time, and Jesse, and they just came here to talk about the same topic that we are about to talk about. And also, at the end, we'll ask them what they've been up to, and then we'll catch up with them as well. Sure. But we shall continue. Ethan, do you want to give them the rundown?
Okay, so guys, we were basically talking about a video about Sofia Coppola, and one thing that I really wanted to touch on that was in that video was when you have to do touchy topics in films and stuff. For example, I don't know if you were listening to the podcast beforehand, but she made a movie set in the Civil War times, and she whitewashed one of the characters. And her excuse for this was that she didn't want to like bastardize or or make a bad portrayal of a black woman in the time, because why write about something you don't understand? There's the argument that you can get others on board to help you write that sort of thing. Like if I made a movie and it was about women, I'd obviously have to talk to other women to try and get their perspective. And then there's the argument that you probably shouldn't be making something at all if you didn't want to try and portray a woman like that at all. Where do you guys stand when it comes to having to touch on touchy topics in your films? Talk about either sexism, historical adaptation of any sort, or idealism. Like, what if you made a movie about communism? How would you? Where do you stand on that? Teega, do you want to start?
We're just clumping you with the hard ones.
Where do you stand on communism?
Essentially, where do you stand on communism? I'm joking.
Let me narrow down the question. If you wanted to make a movie that spoke about a very touchy topic, how would you go about it?
Well, do the good old Tarantino. It's a film, guys. It's a film. You should be able to express yourself. I mean, if let's say I put sexist slants, or I put the N-word in my film or whatever, it's like, it's a film, isn't it? Like, shouldn't we be able to do these things? Obviously, you have to portray it in the right light. You don't just throw
the N-word around and do stuff like that. But it has to be tasteful.
Historical accuracy, got it.
It has to make sense. You can't, like, if you're gonna make, like, it's gotta make sense. So if I make a film in the Civil War, right, and they, like, white people would say it all the time, like, it makes sense, does it not? Like, you should be able to do it.
No, that's true.
Like set in a part, really, like, and white people were saying it, like, it would make sense. It's historically accurate, is it not?
It is historically accurate.
And would you, if I had to put it in there, would you look at me funny and be like, what are you doing?
See, for me, no, I wouldn't do that, because
but there's other people who would. Like, some people just can't stand anything being said.
Then honestly, they shouldn't be watching your movies if they are like that.
they're always gonna find something to be like.
they're always
Fighting
gonna they're gonna find something to be mad about.
Exactly.
I think it also depends very much on the topic because, like, I mean, I would agree with Teega in some aspects, but I also think that doing your research is really important
Oh,
in terms of portraying,
accurate, dude.
in terms of portraying whatever you're doing properly. Because, I mean, if you're doing something, let's say, regarding women, like Ethan said, you know, whether you like it or not, you are a man and you don't fully understand, you know, what women go through or what their experiences are with on certain things. So I think that, like, when approaching a touchy subject, I think that doing your research is like key. It's like the forefront because you can't just go and make something based off your own knowledge because then you like asking for, like, you know, trouble because then it's just your opinion. It's a biased opinion. It's what you think. Yeah. Now, if you're asking where I stand on
If you're asking me where I stand on communism, now that's a different.
I was actually going to ask you another question, a bit similar to that. Okay, hear me out. Okay, let's take the topic away from racism or sexism for a moment. How would you feel about writing a movie about, say, an ideology you have no idea about? Like, what if, like, let's say, for example, you made a religious movie and you made it about Islamic terrorism or something. Obviously that's going to be a very tough challenge, and of course, knowing you'd obviously do your research. But I think, how would you feel if someone were to approach you saying, "I have the script. It's about Islamic terrorism." Why would you feel like if someone did that?
Well,
same question for you as well, Teeks.
So if someone like approached me and said something like, "Hey, I want you to," what are you asking? They want to do a film about Islamic terrorism?
They hand you a script and the stories about it.
Okay, I would think that essentially, I don't know, man. It's a weird thing. I think that because, like, I mean, this year I did a film on you know, with cultural things attached to it. I did a film about an Islamic family, and beforehand, you know, I obviously didn't go writing the script willy-nilly saying, "Oh, okay, this," but I was also very like careful as to not write something that would come across as offensive. You know, I have family and I spoke to them a lot about the religion and the characters and how it sort of comes off on screen. And I mean, I learned quite a bit, and it's I think it's just if you're doing something that's like on that topic, dude, Islamic terrorism, I think that there's two sides to the coin. You know,
Yeah.
I think that you can't tell one story without telling the other. I think that definitely.
If you had to do something along those lines, you would tell both sides of the story instead of just focusing.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to focus on one because then you end up telling a story like American Sniper, which is just
one-sided.
one side of the story, and it comes across as.
They do that with games as well. They do that with pretty much anything.
That's true.
I think with American Sniper, yes, you can classify it as propaganda, but I think you can give a little bit of benefit of the doubt for American Sniper because, again, it's a biopic. It's not about an army; it's about one person. So I think you can give a little bit of a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. I don't know if I'm using that correctly, but
yeah,
I just think that. You know, you can't tell just one side of the story when it's a whole thing. You know, it's like it's like, you know, you have an apple and you only giving like one side of the apple attention and throwing the others away.
But I mean, like, American Sniper about Chris Kyle. Is it Chris Kyle? I think it's Chris Kyle.
Chris Kyle.
Yeah.
It's his story, though. If he was Islamic, it would probably be his story. But it's the fact that it's an American story. That's why it probably got made, because it's an American story, you know, made by Americans. And it's
I think also just the title of it kind of makes it. They don't say that it's this character's story. They're saying American Sniper, right? That's the movie. That's the title. So they're kind of putting this whole broad thing, saying, "Oh no, it's an American Sniper," and instead of saying, "No, it's this person's story."
Yeah.
It's not just American Sniper that sort of like does it. I mean, there's a lot of American war films in which they,
He's not the enemy.
as like the enemy, but which is like still telling one side of a whole story. Which I think that in order to tell a more rounded story, you need to tell both sides so that the audience has a full grasp of what's actually going on.
So you believe in letting the audience decide whether they what side they will essentially choose in the story in like the films that they just watched. Like if you had to make something along those lines, you would say.
I think it also depends on like, obviously you won't like let the audience, like, let's say you telling a story on something that is like really bad, like something that is a bad thing, and I mean you're telling the story from both sides, yes, but you obviously don't want the audience to root for this bad horse, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a very gray, like it's a very fine line, dude. It's
true.
It's a very fine line, and I think the way you approach, that's why research is so important, because
you heard it here, folks. Research important. Whenever you're writing something, research important.
I don't want to give another point about this whole thing. Because you're saying that if you present two sides of the argument, and you may want to present a film where we present both sides of the arguments and have the audience choose who they side with. Yes, that is a very noble cause, and I think a lot more movies should be doing that. I do think, however, that it's just like there's no, like, bias will always be a thing. So no matter how hard you try, the person making this cannot always be 100% objective. I'm not saying that it's something we need to change, because it's something that literally is impossible to change. It's human nature. Mistake exists. Human error exists. And let me take for example. This is going to be a less violent movie, but have you guys seen Marriage Story?
Yeah.
No, I haven't got a chance.
You should check it out. The point I'm trying to make with this movie is that I see what the director did with it. He tried to present both sides of the divorce. Both these people did bad things, and both of them have redeeming qualities. So they want the audience to choose which is which. And I can understand that depending on your own experiences, you may think, oh, the father got the worst end of the deal, or the mother got the worst end of the, like who you think should have won. And I think that depends on what you've experienced, whether you are a man or a woman, things like that. Like, personally, I did not, like, the first time I saw it, I did not know where I stood, because I thought they both did bad things, but they both were good people. The second time I watched it, I think I sided with the father of the whole story, because, probably because I myself am male. But I also thought about it, like, the first time
if
I
you
watched
were
it,
female, what side would you have? Would you still have taken the male side? That type of question.
If I'd only seen the movie once, I think I'd likely take the female side. But here's the thing: like the first time I saw this movie, I felt that Noah Baumbach gave like a very, very like equal amount of attention to both characters. But on the second viewing, I felt that he himself decided more with Adam Driver's character. Like, it seemed as though Adam's Driver, like the male, like he was the more redemptive. How do I say? It felt like the director sided with the male as opposed to the female in this, as he was making it. So you can, like, it's a very subtle thing, which I think a lot of people only notice if they see the movie a second time. But that's how I felt. Like, Noah Baumbach seemingly made a very objective film, but objective in terms of of the characters, not in terms of portrayal. Because again, where the camera itself cannot be objective in a film. But I think that he himself felt more sympathy towards the male character, even though on first time it seemed like he was sympathetic on equal levels to both characters. So, again, I think people you can't take bias out of anything. You just have to hide it or subtract it as much as you can. And again, that's the same thing with war films. Like, you can if you can make a war film that tries to present both sides of the arguments, but about 100. But I'm pretty sure that 100% of the time there's always going to be at least like a percent difference to what side you side with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Can I ask you something? Actually, on the topic of this whole sensitive subject matter and how you approach sensitive subject matter, can we talk about the one that is kind of like all over right now, and that is the Netflix movie? Cuties.
Wait, before we get into that, I just want to address what Captain Oof said. I did promote him now to a mod. You've been knighted, now you are a mod. He says, I feel like that's valid. Well, we're talking about Sophia's reasoning. I feel like it's valid reason she gave. The solution is just to hire more people of color. But producers will be producers, bro. Yeah, hiring more people of color would be like the best way to kind of get into to sort out that situation and actually make people make your script more appealing to the situation, and help people actually to help the story to actually fulfill that touchy subject that you want to do and do it right. Having more people with it, not to kind of have full control over it, but to have control over the parts that you're not really sure.
That perspective that would be there if you're writing this by yourself.
Yeah, and he says Black Klansman was nice. He likes Black Klansman. Yeah, Black Klansman was also a really good movie. It also, again, a really good movie that kind of spoke about a biopic of that police officer who infiltrated. Yeah, Ron Starwood. But again, a movie like that kind of took took that one side of this person's perspective and kind of made it into a biopic, and that's acceptable because you kind of mentioned that because you know it's one perspective, because you know that this is one person, one character. It's kind of told like a typical story with the main character who goes through one arc and then does this whole thing, and then at the end he comes out a different person. And it's kind of the same with the biopic, where the one character, we go through his life, he goes through challenges, you see all the things that he went through, and then he comes out at the end kind of a different, changed man.
If you guys like Spike Lee, watch his most recent film, The Five Bloods. That was weird. I'll have a rant about it some other time, but we're gonna talk about it, man. You and I
haven't seen The Five Bloods. I don't want to talk about that yet.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about it yet. We'll talk about it in the later one. Lava Pancake just joined. Yo, mods. Where you at? Lava Pancake. I even knighted a new mod because you weren't here. It's fine.
Did you make everyone on the server a mod? What the hell?
No, I didn't make everyone a mod. I'm just saying. Okay, never mind. I'll give my reasoning later. Again, so Jess, you spoke about what's that new Netflix series with twerking teenagers? Cutie.
Twerking teenagers twerking their way to the top, so it says.
But okay. What I heard was the film itself was made by French people, right?
But the director is a French woman.
But the thing, I don't understand why people are getting offended, because, the French do this, though. It shouldn't be... There are snuff films out there that have done way worse, brother.
Are you telling me that there are snuff films out there that have sexualized children to a far worse extent?
Yeah, plus this put into the mainstream.
But I don't think saying it's made by a French person is really an excuse.
It is. I feel like they're more sensitive. What I don't feel like. Wait. Let me explain. What I don't feel like should have happened is the film shouldn't have gone to any other Netflix regions, because they probably have different standard points of view on the subject, whereas in France the reason why this French filmmaker could make it is because like the points of views that French filmmakers go through, like the topics that they do are more relaxed, laid back, and they can accept more. Whereas if you take this to America, Americans get touched by everything and be like, "Oh no, it's about it's about kids twerking and all that." When in reality, it's actually what's happening. It's literally what's happening. Kids are actually twerking, and
everyone says that, but the brief of the movie is literally girl joins twerking group of 12-year-old girls. It doesn't say she was exploited. It doesn't say that like, oh bro, it doesn't say that she was pressured into it. It says that she wanted to go out and twerk. That's
this isn't like a true story or anything, is it? It's not like a based off a true story.
Oh, I hope not.
Just give it
because it says that it says that the girls were willing to do this twerking thing, not that they were pressured into doing it. If they were pressured, I would have understood the message, but
so Lava Pancake says that the thing about cuties is the Netflix over-sexualized a movie about bringing awareness to over-sexualization of children. Dude.
I think they were trying to do something and they just missed the ball. They were trying to bring awareness, and the fact that they over-sexualized them to that extent, they really missed the target. They really missed the target, dude.
What do you think? What do you think about this whole cuties thing?
I haven't seen it.
None of us have seen the movie, but do you know about the whole thing?
The controversy.
But honestly, things these days, like people, like I agree with what Motsiba was saying.
Exactly.
People gotta stop actually overreact. Like, this is real life we're talking about. It's not like we're just making a gimmick. Like, oh, what if? This is kind of real. So
it's literally we're going through that phase. We're going through that phase with people with teenage girls doing things like that. And
so do you agree that the world? So you agree the world is overly sensitive at this point in time?
I do agree on that.
I think the world is overly sensitive to things that don't deserve to be sensitive about. I think when it comes to sexualizing children, that is something you should make a big deal about.
Yeah, I think I agree with Ethan. I think that if
Again, when we look at the okay, let's look at twerking. Okay, it's something like, because it's something that's done in like, it's seen in such a sexual light that people are like, oh no, twerking, look, it's kids twerking, like sexual thing being done by kids, whereas in fact like twerking has also become like an acceptable form of dance, and there are actually
but then you can say the same thing about pole dancing.
It is though. Pole dancing, literally, it's exactly the same thing.
A movie about kids pole dancing, are you gonna condone that?
Kids, literally, pole dancing is a form of exercise. But again, you can twist my words and say anything is a form of exercising, and like, but like, pole dancing is even seen as like an art and like a form of dance, and like it's not sexual if you have your clothes on and you are dancing on.
Nah, Motsiba, you digging yourself into it.
No, I'm not even digging myself.
Actually, Motsiba, do I have something to say about that? You might say that that it's a form of exercise and that can be a form of expression, but then it comes to the bit of when it comes to being monetized or shown or like shown to the public. For example, where I had the perfect example for this. Actually continue.
It's like, it's basically what the person, the beholder's intent is on this, on like what they're gonna see. because again, it's unfortunate, but we live in a world where people are pedophiles and all that stuff, and those things do exist. And if they watch this film, they are like, oh no, girls, I see now, young women or young children.
Okay,
but
okay, I just remembered. Yeah, that's the thing. When that's the thing I was just mentioning. Like, where at what point do you let people know? Okay, this is at the point where we can actually show it to people. Like, you can train for this amount of time, but when you actually show it to people, and I think the thing about cuties is that it's shown too early for the age of the girls. That's my issue with it. The age of the girls. For example, do you know in America they have beauty pageants? For example.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you have pageants for people, for like little boys and girls. That's messed up. Like, I think the idea of beauty pageants, like, okay, it's kind of stupid, but I think it's
Netflix show, TLC show on that.
Yeah, like several. But the point I'm trying to make is that the fact that you force beauty pageants on small children, that is when it gets messed up, okay? Because it ruins them mentally. It gives them ideas, which unhealthy thoughts about themselves. And I think beauty pageants are fine if you like reach a certain age, like maybe if you're like 18 or I don't know, you might even 16. But when you put it on children, that's when it gets into that gray area.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
I get that, and I get that
So it's a question
beauty
of, like,
pageants.
But I think it doesn't matter as to like what age you do a beauty pageant. Still, it's gonna affect you negatively because beauty pageants.
It's you exactly.
You need to be in top shape. You need to be in this. You can eat one grapefruit a day. It's crazy, bro. But I get it. What you're saying that have that sort of being instilled in you at such a young age. It's sort of like burnt into your memory. This idea of yourself that you should hold yourself up to a certain standard, and obviously that's not healthy. You should be able to have a Travis Scott McDonald's burger whenever you want.
We're not here to promote Travis Scott McDonald's burger. Ingested, what's up? I see you in the chat. That's just what were you saying?
Just that crazy Gemini mentioned. Yeah, definitely agree that this is what's happening with young kids, but this is promoting sexualization of young girls. Not okay. Yeah, it touches on my point. You got to ask your questions like, when is it appropriate, or like, when should we be doing these things? Like, I think the idea of a movie about twerking, it's allowed. It's just the fact that it's kids, So yeah, you can. So I guess if people like using pole dancing as a form of exercise, I can't really argue again. I can just say it's stupid, but I can't like go right and say that's wrong. It's just when you put it in a movie.
I just see it as stupid. So toxic.
Nice one, Ethan.
Nice
one. Just joking, dude. Carry on, dude.
Oh, that's my point. Like, if you again, like, don't put kids in that position and film it. That's what I'm against.
Yeah, true.
I think I agree with you.
Girls like 10 years older, I would have no issue with it.
I hear you. I just think again that from the standpoint of where the film came from, because again my first impression was, because the film came from a French director, I thought, oh no, this is a French director. I don't need, like, these things are meant to be.
You border on also saying that just because they're a French director, it's okay for them to do this. But then you also like sort of pushing that stereotype that all European people are so free and they can do whatever they want. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? It's like in American movies, like those raunchy teenage American movies like Eurotrip or something. Everyone says that, oh, it's Europe. Europe is the place of sex, and
But it's true. Like, they have that connotation to it, and
it's a connotation with Eurotrip. The whole European being crazy. It's satire. That's what it is. It's not meant to take it seriously.
And it's not necessarily the truth. So
true.
when you say something like, "Oh, she's a French director," that's expected. It doesn't really it's not really expected, you know, just because you're a fresh director doesn't give you the right to do something to that extent.
I make these assumptions and I make these accusations from movies, from French movies that I've watched. Clearly, I do not have an in-depth of French movies, and I haven't seen. But I've just seen Enter the Void. I've seen first French movie I've ever seen. Enter the Void.
French films are a bit more sort of lenient when it comes to
these rules about
but again, those are films that are not mainstream, you know. They're not
and I think just the idea that film was that was mainstream. That's like where I'm also kind of disagreeing on. That's where I'm like, no, this thing shouldn't be like this. Where I'm like, because it's a film about teenagers twerking and it's been mainstreamed. Like that's different people have, like, again, different regions and different people have different like thresholds of things that they will accept in cinema and things that they will accept.
Yeah, I think definitely there's a fine line between you know, art and, you know, trash. So
maybe this director, sorry to cut you off there, but I just want to say this point before I forget it. Maybe this director's kind of commenting on the same things that Ethan was commenting on, pageants. Like pageants in America. Maybe he's commenting on, maybe the director's commenting on that. Maybe it's something that's actually happening in France. Like there are actually schools that teach girls how to twerk, and then now she's literally telling that type of story and saying she's experienced this or she's witnessed this before, and like, let me tell this story. You know,
Right.
Or maybe her young daughter's going through the same thing. So
I mean, yeah, there's definitely, I mean, in order to tell a story, especially to something like this with tackling certain subject matter, you obviously, it's to have a personal connection to it, you know, and I think that what you're saying about this director having a personal connection to it could validate, but I still think that pushing it into the mainstream media was, I don't think that was the right move. I really don't think, because I mean, if you look at it, okay, in the grand scheme of things, there are worse films out there.
yeah,
I mean, there's a Serbian film.
dude, don't even get me started,
you know,
with a Serbian film, dude.
There are so much worse films that tackle worse subject matter that if that got into mainstream, it would fucking, you know, wreck people's minds. But you know, it's not in mainstream, and it's not in the mainstream for a reason.
Yeah, very true.
So I think that in some cases you can find the sort of, I would say, you can find the art within the whole thing that this whole, you know, but sometimes you can't, and that's when it suffers. So
Yeah.
I just want to say before you move on, I just want to mention something that Captain Oof read in the chat. What are your thoughts on Riverdale then, Benji? Guy, that's one thing I really hate about like modern mainstream entertainment. The way they sexualize teenagers, I hate it. I hate it when they make a kid who's meant to be like 16 years old look like flippin' Johnny Sins. It's wrong. Like,
so
I don't like.
How did you? Okay, that's kind of similar, falling to like stories like Blood and Water, where they kind of like they had teenagers kind of doing it.
it's like
and
when they make teenagers act like adults.
Yeah, like they make kids who are meant to be only like 16 years old seem like flippin' porn stars with six packs and stuff. Have you seen anything about
but I mean,
this?
they're
Like,
true. Like there are people, there are like teenagers that look like that.
Dude,
though.
it's flippin' gross. Have you seen? Dude, do you remember when you were in high school? Do you remember how ugly everyone looked?
Yeah, that was your high school. That was your high school. Everyone in your high school was ugly.
There's one thing that I can agree with that really like pissed me off in terms of what Ethan's talking about. I get what you mean. How sometimes, you know, they make teenagers have these adult problems, but I mean
And it's
you'll
not
mostly
Peter,
find that
it's
in
just
teen
that.
dramas. Yeah, but you'll mostly find that in teen dramas. You know, your fucking Teen Wolves, your whatever the fuck you watch. But
It's those angsty
there's
teenagers, though. It's from the books. It's from the books.
There's one show where I saw this like the most sort of like at its worst, and that was Gossip Girl. Gossip Girl. Holy shit! For the first like 3 seasons of Gossip Girl, they like dealing with fucking major ass problems that like in reality shouldn't concern them. You know, you were a fucking kid. You know, when I was your age, I was
True.
fucking
Teenagers
trying
are
to
just children with
yeah,
responsibilities. That's all teenagers are, really.
fucking dealing with my parents' divorce and shit like that. You know what I mean? It's very much, but again, it's to create drama and it's to pull in a certain type of audience. You know,
Exactly.
so
Angsty teenagers, come to me.
So Gossip Girl is, you know, obviously appealing to that teenage girl that, you know, that's in high school with these high school problems, and you know, I think that it's done for a reason, but I also think that, you know, you can't fight it, man. It's something that's been around for a long time, and
I think you can fight it, but you can only fight it by making your own media that doesn't do that. Because again, like I said earlier, teenagers aren't these like adults with big problems. They aren't the 25-year-olds that are playing these 16-year-old characters. Teenagers are really just children with more responsibilities than they have yesterday.
However, when you say that teenagers aren't these kids with big problems, you don't know that, because there are kids out there.
There are kids with those that have gone through those similar situations.
I never said teenagers don't have problems. There obviously are movies and media that deal with actual teenage problems that actually have, you know, things like not fitting in, things like suicidal thoughts, things like drug abuse. But then again, like I'm saying, maybe just don't cast 20 people in their mid-20s as teenagers and make them have the libidos of porn stars.
Well, wait. Let me go first quickly. Let me go first because I have one. Where like this is now you're going into the era of saying now you're telling production companies to actually hire cast characters that are in the similar age, but in that, like, if you can't get anyone in that age range, and like the 20-year-olds and the 25-year-olds or like that, casting them down, it's way easier because you can work with them. Like they've already developed and they have developed their craft enough for them to actually play these characters properly.
Not to mention having, like, if you're working with a child actor, you know.
Exactly, you have so much responsibility that you have to put in order to have a child on set.
So I think what triggers Ethan is authenticity. I think the fact that they're not authentic to their age group is what pisses Ethan off.
Again, now we go down to money.
I don't think it has anything to do with.
But we go down to money now.
Kids with big problems.
I actually have a counter argument for that. I'm fully aware that I understand, see the merit in casting people older than the character they're playing. I say, but I don't. But my whole thing is that they cast them far too old. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that cast a 19-year-old to play a 16-year-old character, but don't cast someone who's like 25 to play a character who's 16 or 17 years old. That is my issue. You can cast someone older. There's just a point when it's too far.
I understand.
Can you give some examples?
That's the same as saying that Peter Parker, what's it called? Tom Holland can't play Peter Parker because Peter Parker's a 16-year-old.
Tom Holland does not look. How old is Tom Holland?
He's like 20 something, 25 or something like that.
He doesn't look.
But Tom Holland is crap.
He doesn't look like he's 25 years old. He has, like, I think that's where the exception is. Either you can have them look like they can fit a younger role, because again, look.
I'm sorry. Apparently, Tom Holland is our age. Oh, oops, sorry. Guess my argument is invalid. He's our age, apparently.
Okay, Daniel mentioned Ladybird. Yeah. I think
Never mind, he's
Ladybird
25. I told you, Leia. She's coming in and she's trolling me. Someone ban this mod. I'm joking. Don't ban her. She's.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
but like also Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, like his age, he looked way older than he was like when Spider-Man was meant to. But again, he was.
I think that was the adaptation for the older Spider-Man, though.
No, but when there was a time in the first Spider-Man where Tobey Maguire was still in high school.
Oh,
that
casting.
Okay, well, Jesse,
I
that
didn't even
shows
think
that-
about that.
Well, Jesse, this shows that that the people in that filmmakers today are thinking like how I did. Like the whole thing where you cast people much older than who they're playing as, like again, 26-year-olds playing 16-year-olds. Like that is an issue that is kind of fading away the further we go on. The closer we are today, we're getting more media about actual teenagers who actually look like the cast. There's the series called Who We Are, and one of the actors is the kid from one of the children from It. And
We are who we are.
Yes, and he is actually looks like a teenager. He doesn't look like some big buff Johnny Sins looking dude.
True.
And so a lot of people are thinking the same way I do. You know, they see that the teenagers who look like adults, they see it as a problem. So more things are being made.
I just want to bring up something after your point.
Yeah.
Crazy Gemini mentioned 13 Reasons Why in like the sense of the teenagers and teenage problems. I haven't seen 13 Reasons Why. I kind of strayed away from it because there was so much hype. For me, I don't watch a series if it has too much hype behind it.
13 Reasons Why I wouldn't watch it.
You wouldn't watch it. But
I wouldn't watch
but still, like 13 Reasons Why, I know it came, like, it spoke about the suicide and there's a video essay about it, and speaking about how they glamorized suicide and all these mental issues that they had and stuff like that. And
it's another teen drama.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I also feel like, again, it's a teen drama. There were books about it. They did an adaptation. They turned the books into series, and people like them because, I mean, they have a fan base from the books. But I personally didn't like it. I felt, and there was also some controversy on people like attempting to do their whole 13 reasons, their own 13 reasons why, like suicide tapes and stuff. And I felt that was like, nah, it's going too far, because now they've just glamorized this whole thing about like mental illnesses and all that, and made it so that like it's now a mainstream TV show. But hey, that was my 2 cents on that. I didn't watch it, even though like it was very hype and people like watching it. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna indulge myself in this. Lava Pancake says this is in terms of the Spider-Man. He was 19 years old when he played a 16-year-old in the first Spider-Man. Tom Holland. So he's Tom Holland Spider-Man. He was 19-year-old when he played a 16-year-old. But again, Ethan, you did mention that he looks the age and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like when it comes to actors, just if it's a bod, if he looks good and he's supposed to look attractive and he's a jock, if you can hire a 22-year-old that looks attractive and a jock and kind of like looks like that, because when I was in high school,
and that's a TikTok star in some
and that's a TikTok star, because when I was in high school, and I distinctly remember my generation of Matrix versus the generation of Matrix when I was in grade 9. They looked so much bigger, so much hairier, so much like adults than I did when I was in Matrix.
But you still don't look like an adult.
Dude, I still don't look like an adult. I probably still look like a kid. I'm still trying to grow my facial hairs. So sad.
Facial hair.
So sad. Still. So sad. But exactly. I still do believe that if there is a way to add in these characters and make them look like they are part of high school, they should go for it, because that's in some people's cases, high school matrics or something like that, they actually look like they were adults already.
Yeah, so I think it's just the way in which people perceive them. Like Ethan, obviously Ethan doesn't really agree with it, and I think in some cases, I see his point. But also there are times, like Motsiba says, when the high schoolers, some matrics do look fucking huge, dude. Like,
Dude.
They could pass as
They were
adult.
taking steroids and stuff in the womb, and they came
So
out and they're like
I think
massive.
obviously not everyone is born the same. So
True.
I also see your point. So look, yeah, I think that we can leave it at that and move on to the next topic, because Teega's been very.
Teega's been very quiet, just listening to us argue about this.
I'm very eager to hear what he says. I think Teega just left and went to go make himself like food.
And he just left us alone. Teega, bad host. I'm joking. We'll still have him again next time. Leia says that she can relate to that. Lava Pancake says she can relate to that too much. When she was in matric, when she was in high school, the matrics looked like children. What am I saying? When she was in high school, the matrics looked like adults, and she looked like a child. But then when she left matric, she still looks like a child now. I can relate, dude. I still look like a child.
Klaus, why were the curtains purple? You sound just like that.
What?
Oh, joke fell
I
flat.
don't get that.
You read more than what was on what she said. You read more than what she said.
Okay, Ethan. Okay. I think I need to make new alerts, like not alerts, but animations that
should make a soundboard just for Ethan.
just for Ethan, just to be like, every time he says something and we want to bully him into like being submissive, and that like we can speak and have our points, because he has such a thick point and he has to put it there and he doesn't want to budge, like, because he's a stone. We should have these emotes and then be like, try to get him away. Try to break his stone down. I don't know. That's just an idea.
Ethan, you mustn't forget to breathe when you're putting in your point across, eh?
Yeah, sorry. I had to say it as fast as possible. So
and then mid-sentence, Ethan's just like, and then continues his point.
Pyro, sorry I'm late, dude. You're late. It's fine. You can still catch up with the VODs. We don't mind if you're late. It's totally chilled. We're not gonna ban you. Although Captain Oof did become a mod.
I watched a movie on Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's called The Founder. I don't know if you
haven't
on
seen
Netflix
it.
or like
McDonald's
you've
movie.
heard of it. Yeah. So essentially, it's a biopic on McDonald's and how McDonald's got started. And holy shit, is business hardcore, because essentially it just tells the story of how this guy stole McDonald's from two brothers. Like, straight up stole.
Imagine that. Imagine getting your intellectual property stolen, and then it actually becomes like a multi-million-dollar corporate, like, dude.
I think that happens more often than you think. The same thing happened with something happened with Facebook. Like, if you saw the social network.
Oh, the social network, yeah.
Like a key part of the code was stolen. Mark stole from his friend, I think, and that's why he got so angry, like, late in the film.
But once you like big enough to, because what this guy did was, because he was sort of McDonald's, he took McDonald's national, right? And because he took McDonald's national, he established himself as like the CEO of the McDonald's corporation. And when he spoke to these two brothers and he sent them letters, they were like, what is this McDonald's corporation thing? We never like signed off on this. And he's like, oh no, this is my own thing and we're separate from you. So now I have my own lawyers and we want to take McDonald's. So we want to be the only thing that's allowed to name ourselves McDonald's, not you anymore. And because they're national and the brothers were like, this local establishment, they couldn't fight it. So they literally just had no choice but to settle. It's crazy, dude. And he just took the McDonald's name.
Yeah, the corporate
And-
espionage is a big thing.
But they do that though.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's what it is.
It's definitely
Yeah.
a thing, but it's just such a scummy fucking thing to do because I'm sitting there and
Hey,
I'm
dude,
like,
money
I can
talks.
never-
Money talks.
I can never I go to like a McDonald's or I drive past a McDonald's and I look at it and the first thing that comes to mind is this motherfucker that stole McDonald's.
Just
And
like,
I'm like,
So aggressive.
I just want to because I did more research into it afterwards, and it's such a because he was like, yeah, look, we will sell you. He literally told the brothers, give me the McDonald's name, and I will give you like $2 million in royalties, and they never saw a cent of that money, dude.
Business
So,
is business, Pyro? Yes, yes, dude.
Brutal, man.
Business is
it's
business.
fucking brutal.
Business is business, my guy. Business is business. Anyways, we have been talking for an hour and a half, and
Yes.
it's been amazing. Teega, you still alive or is he dead? Did Teega just pass out on us? Well,
He fell asleep.
he fell asleep
midway through.
midway through. Ethan, your rants are too powerful, dude. They're like literally anesthetics. Rip Teega. Teega's dead. Chat's like Teega's dead. Teega's nowhere to be found.
a week later, he actually does end up he just collapsed or got shot or something.
Yeah. No.
Yo, now
let's
why
not
would
do
you
that.
have to take it
Ned,
there?
why do you have to do that? Why do you have to take it too far? Why?
You cannot without taking
No,
control.
no, no,
always
no,
wanna
no,
go
no,
the
no,
extra
no. You always
kilometer,
want to
my
go
guy.
there. You always want to go there. Too soon. Too far. Too far. Too far. So let's kind of close this up and give the audience what they want to hear, which is the favorite segment. It's my favorite segment. Dude, I have so many segments into this podcast. Like, it's amazing. I'm gonna now give everyone the film of the week. Our choices, right? So we have the first one is very, very interesting film. Yeah, the first one is indeed The Villainess. We spoke about it last week.
Oh,
We spoke about it. Okay,
open up with the killer.
now everyone's nutting. Okay, relax.
The villainess.
It's The Villainess.
Ooh, Korean
It's The
cinema.
Villainess. Do you wanna talk about The Villainess, Ethan?
Yeah, sure, guys. I think I mentioned this. We did mention it in our previous podcast, guys. The Villainess. It is a Korean action movie. It's a revenge tale.
Ethan peddles the villainess so much. I'm surprised they don't pay him for it.
Anyway, guys, it is a really awesome action movie. If you guys like John Wick, watch this movie because honestly, John Wick isn't that good, but this movie is so much better than John Wick.
Hold the phone. I
This is
can't
exact-
even deal.
this is
Dude, I'm gonna
exactly-
I'm gonna throw a tantrum right now. I'm
I
gonna
don't
throw
care
my
if he's breathtaking, okay? John
Dude.
Wick is not that amazing.
Keanu Reeves is breathtaking. John Wick is so good,
Look,
brother.
John Wick 1 was pretty cool, I must say.
Dude,
but I
two
really- the
was
second
like
one made me
literally
fall
like
asleep. I fell asleep in the cinema.
Dude, I'm gonna I'm actually being bullied here.
I think the
They're
only
bullying my
thing-
boy.
Look, the only thing that stands out in John Wick is the action sequences.
Dude,
Nothing
the
more.
gun
People
fu.
watch it for the action.
The gun fu,
Exactly.
dude. Gun
You don't
fu.
watch
He
John Wick for
literally
the fucking
made
story.
his
You
own.
watch it because you want to see Keanu Reeves throw a pencil in some dude's ass. Okay, so don't fucking say John Wick is a masterpiece because story-wise, it's not really a masterpiece.
Thank you, Captain.
So-
No, John Wick. I just like the way that it's shot and the way that they use gun fu.
Shot better.
No,
The
dude,
Villainess is
you
shot
are losing your
Especially
brain
the
cells.
opening scene of the Villainess.
Listen.
Anyways. So, Ethan, just so you know, this is the same sale pitch you use on me. If you like John Wick, you will like the Villainess better. I don't know if it's scripted or written down somewhere in
Suggestion.
your...
Oh, we have someone who put in suggestion. Kick them out the podcast for joining for their John Wick opinions.
Don't suggest anything. Don't have your own opinions in this fucking podcast.
Okay. I'm gonna kick everyone out for having opinions against John Wick. Do you want me to put that as a poll? Come on, ingested, or are you being serious? I don't know.
Look. What's your next movie? I'm curious to see your next.
Yeah, dude. I'm actually. So the next film,
I must
right?
know that the villainess is pretty good.
The crowd has spoken. The crowd has spoken. I'm actually gonna put a poll up. New poll.
But that's because the villainess does a good job of fleshing out the lead character. It does a good job in story. I don't think John Wick there. I think that's where John Wick sort of like fails, like hard. So yeah. Anyways, next film. Motsiba. Next
film is very good film. Many memes have been made upon it. It has two characters who are what's this race? Who are Spanish and they go on a road trip. Do you know the movie? It is Itu Mama También. Dude, I'm telling you now. Itu Mama También.
Guys, we were doing a practice shoot once for an assignment, and Jesse ruined one of our takes by making a pun out of that movie. Our other actor was laughing at the joke. Itu Mama También.
So yeah, Ethan, do you wanna kind of give a little bit of a actually Jesse, give a rundown because we know this is your fault, dude.
Okay, look, so I watched Itu Mama También and I really enjoyed it. I think that I did. I don't know what else there is to say about it. I enjoyed the movie. It was directed by Alfonso Cuarón. I think that he did a really good job in bringing these two characters and the dynamic between these three. It's three characters, right? It's three. Mm-hmm. It's the two boys and the woman that they go on the road trip with. And I think that he does a really good job in bringing the dynamic in these two characters, in the front and center. Because, obviously I haven't seen it in a long time. I saw it in first year. But I think that as far as road films go, it's really good. And I mean, he shot it with his son. It was Alfonso Cuarón and his son that directed the film. And yeah, it's definitely a must watch. I think that
I definitely as well. I do 100%.
There's something that they do in there where they use narration, and I know that a lot of people don't agree with the whole thing of using having a narrator or whatever, but mainly Daniel hates having narration. But
Daniel's our actress, by the way.
In this case, I think the way that it is done well, because it's used to show, when they drive past a sign on the road, the narration will come up and say, before they came through this road, there was an accident, and something like that. And it's sort of I don't know, it just adds another layer of learning about these places that they are in and this world that they are, inhabiting. So yeah, I mean, the story is straightforward. It's these three people trying to find the beach, but I think it's the layers that really stand out. The dynamics between the three of them.
That's also what I find that the movie is amazing.
These two guys, this friendship, and I think that. It's definitely that's where it shines. Is
the ultimate bros before hoes movie. Okay. Now we've gotten to the last one. This one is a bit different. It's around the similar realms of the action. It's a movie with Thanos in it, and he puts his crotch in someone's face. This is one of my favorite movies
Dude, it's not him. It's Benicio del Toro. I think.
Oh well, whoever. There's a lot of crotch in face action. The movie. It's not porn. Don't worry, guys. It's a
power song.
It's a power move. It's a power move. The film is called Sicario. Guys, Sicario is the other film that I'm going to recommend.
So, Sicario is a very slow burn. It's a very slow burn action movie. I recommended it to my aunt, and she hated it. She didn't like it because of the slow burn. She likes obviously something that's more in your face action, like Gerard Butler's abs in shot all the time. So I think that Sicario is definitely it's a good movie. It's a good movie, dude. I fucking enjoyed watching Sicario. But again, I don't think it's someone that really like. It's for someone that wants to watch it. Switch off your brain action movie. I think it's very much a slow burn action film. So is that your top three?
Those are my top three. Those are my top three for this week.
There's actually a movie that I think that you should definitely look into watching. It's what I'm gonna watch today. It's called Spree.
Spree.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of it, Ethan. Anyone heard of it?
No, I have not heard of that.
So it stars Joe Cleary. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. The only way I can say is the dude in Stranger Things. The one that plays Steve Harrington.
Yeah.
And he takes on a very different role. He plays this guy that essentially wants internet social media fame. And he does this so the whole movie is shot through like GoPros in the back, like in his car, because he's like an Uber driver. And what he does is he uses it and he kills people for views. And
what the hell? I was following along, and then all I hear is kill people for views. I'm like,
so it's basically just sort of highlighting how far one would go in order to maintain, in order to gain internet fame. Because I mean, in today's world, that's sort of what it's come to. People do these stupid challenges in order to get famous.
Okay, Jesse, I just checked out the IMDb. I just checked out the IMDb page for this, and it reminds me a lot of this other really messed up manga I read once upon a time called Dead Tube. Guys, don't look it up. Just don't. But
it reminds me of a manga called Dead Tube. Don't look it up, guys. Just don't.
Yeah, that's because I'm talking about porn.
Probably. That's all Ethan looks at anyways.
I mean, look, this movie is interesting. It caught my eye when I read up on it, so I'm going to be watching that today. And I will let you know my thoughts on it. But definitely give it a look-see. And then there's also another film on Netflix at the moment called I'm Thinking of Ending Things that plays around with time, which is pretty interesting.
I also want to.
It's a Charlie Kaufman film.
I did see it, and I'm also very interested in watching that one as well.
So definitely on my list. So
definitely also on my list. Anyways, guys, thank you Jesse for being here. Papa Cape's coming in. Every time you come in, it's always about to end. Your neighbor has been mad at his wife for sunbathing nudes. I personally am not in the Dude, aren't you having like problems with your neighbors though? That's what I was saying. Apparently, Papa Capes is having neighbor issues because his neighbors don't understand that being a streamer entails for you to have a lot of energy and to be loud. So he's currently
And to
facing
scream.
and to scream.
Let's
Dude.
consider-
Does it though?
I don't want to. I don't
Does
want
It
to.
does, like
it-
being
does it-
being active, being like how do I say, bubbly personality, because that's how you
Clearly
catch
You
people.
clearly haven't watched any video or stream made by Aculite if you think that's the case.
I
I don't
feel
think
like
that's the case. I don't think you necessarily have to be loud in order to
Yeah.
bring in views. That can't be accurate, man.
No, but like, okay, let's not say necessarily be loud, but more like when you get like your victory and you're like, yes, boys, come on, and you like wanna, you know.
Motsiba, you watch too much LEA. You watch too much LEA.
But hey, dude. But like I said, Papa Capes is just a loud person, though. I agree with him. He is actually.
Teega, Teega.
But we're coming. So Papa Capes, if you missed it, we will be posting this. And whoever didn't get a chance to watch this podcast and came a little bit late, we will be posting it on our Facebook page. And I'll be posting it on Friday, so you have things to watch on Friday when the podcast is actually supposed to happen. So instead of coming to the twitch.tv, we'll recommend you to go to the YouTube channel. You'll know that you'll find the credentials and all the links and stuff in our about page. I just want to say thank you again to Jesse for being here and Teega for sleeping here. Teega, thank you for sleeping on my podcast. On our podcast. It's actually amazing to have you just being silent.
That's very funny.
That is so funny, dude. That is so funny. Anything else? Anything else you wanna say, Jesse? What's your progression on your film, my guy? Let's hear that, because I know we had a GP. We got to see it.
You want
to briefly, just give us a little bit of a trinkle on your film, dude. What's going on?
Okay, so at the moment we are rearranging the scenes. So I'm gonna be looking through it in a moment, probably this evening at some point, and I will be having a meeting with my editor in order to discuss rearranging the sequence of events that take place in the film. So after that it gets picture lock. Hopefully, once the lecturers are happy with it. Well, actually, I don't really like. I think once I'm happy with it, I don't really. Although I value the opinion of the lecturers, I don't particularly care whether or not they are happy with the performance.
I think
With
Imran
it.
watching this too. How is he gonna feel once he hears this?
Who?
If Imran was watching this stream, how do you think he'd feel after hearing this?
Dude, do you think my lecturers will watch my stream? Dude, I don't think
Well,
so.
I mean, I'm not
No, they did, so why wouldn't they?
bashing. I'm not bashing anyone. I'm just saying that I value their opinion, but I'm not gonna
He's
change
bashing
my
the
vision.
lecturers. He's
You know,
bashing the lecturers.
I'm not gonna change my vision for that of someone else's. So I think that it all comes down to, what I want. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. And as I am the director, whether or not I decide this is how I want it, if I end up making something that other people don't like, then you know what, that's their problem, because I feel like there are people out there that will like the film. So as long as I have people who like the film and who can relate to the film in some way, shape or form, I'm happy. So at the moment we're getting picture lock, and then it goes through to Beware, our sound guy, and he will then be working with Foley and whatnot, and
Great.
then
Great. Viewers already saying,
it's
Paraplegic in
awesome.
chat's already saying you need that Foley. You need that Foley. You still have to do Foley with him. So.
I know, viewer. I know.
Sound guys
I
in the
know.
chat. The sound guys in the chat.
Sound guys. It's
Dude, we
always the sound
have to make an
guys.
alert for the sound guys when both of them are here. It's just like, dude, shit goes down. Everyone's quiet.
I want to know about your guys' home. Are we going to be seeing it anytime soon? GP's coming up.
Yeah,
What's
it's
happening?
probably, I don't know, dude. To be honest, I don't know what's happening.
Rebecca's finishing on the cuts. I don't know when you guys will be able to see it, but we will be talking about it in GP soon. She just has to do the last episode. And
wait, you guys did your pickup, eh?
No, not yet.
Okay, I want to. Could I be there? I would really like to be there.
You can be there. You can be there. You can be there for the pickup. Sound guys are gonna be there as well. I'm already booking them now because like they can't say shit. I own you. I'm joking. Dude, I love my sound guys. Actually, they deserve more credit than they actually are getting at the moment.
No, definitely. Guys, your film is nothing without sound.
Yeah, film is nothing without sound. If you want to catch up with the sound guys and what they had to say about the films, read the episodes again on the YouTube channel. And I'm just gonna close off the stream, the entirety, and say thank you to everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you to. I see a new face around here, which was it? I'm probably gonna say it wrong. Oh, Crazy Gemini. Thank you for giving some of those amazing points. Thank you for bringing.
Thank you, Crazy Gemini.
Thank you, Crazy Gemini. What else? Thank you, is Teega still here? Is he even alive?
Why are you saying that?
Huh? What?
Why did you say you're gonna say that wrong? Crazy Gemini.
No, I forgot the name. I forgot the name. Teega, are you still alive? No, he's not alive. Okay, he's not alive. I just hear the stream echoing from him. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. We are going to be rating someone, so I don't know what tap mood we in. If you guys are gamers, I'm gonna start rating a friend of mine. Again, he's rated me before, and I'm gonna give him some love. His name's Dexter, and you will 100% enjoy his content. He's playing Among Us, which is a game, and when we get into his chat, please spam him with love. Use the channel points to redeem the emote. I don't know how much channel points you need to redeem the emote. I didn't actually add that. Oof, I'm so sorry, guys.
I just want to ask one thing about you, Motsiba. I just want to ask one thing.
One thing.
How do you feel that Skyrim and Doom is now gonna be console exclusive?
Dude, I'm telling you, we're getting them. It is because
it doesn't mean they're not gonna put it on their Game Pass. So why would it be a console exclusive?
Because Microsoft owns it.
Bruh.
Anyways,
I think that they're just gonna do whatever more lucrative.
Anyways, I'm saying I want to leave, but you keep.
Guys, thank you so much. Okay,
go.
Thank you so much for watching our podcast. I've linked both Teega and Jesse's Instagram accounts in chat, so take a look at them.
I just want to.